Kia ora everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're starting immediately coughing. So yes, welcome back to the channel. My name is Amy. I am a colorist based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and this is my completed pages for the month of February 2025, everything that I managed to color in the month of February. So if you've been around, you would have noticed I was a little quiet in February. I wasn't live streaming, I wasn't posting. We know things happen, and things happened in February. I will do a bit of a life update at the end, so that if you're not interested in life, if you're not interested in what's been happening, you don't have to watch it. But at the end, I'll talk a little bit more about what's been happening and stuff that's going on. But yeah, basically I got sick and then a bunch of stuff happened and it resulted in a very exhausted Amy, which is also part of the reason why I'm filming completed pages so late, because I honestly haven't felt up to it till now. So yeah, February took an interesting turn, and it meant that I didn't actually colour everything that I wanted to colour, but also I didn't do, well, I still did a lot, but a lot of what I did was really quite simple stuff. So I did manage to do 33 pages, but you'll see that a lot of that is really quite mindless stuff. So let's get into it. I need that open so I can refer to things. So let's start with some of the buddies. So we'll start with Fledgling Fairies. Of course, February was Febuary, so I did do quite a few fairies in February, which I always do enjoy. So I did 2 in Fledgling Fairies. This is by Christine Karen. It is a Colouring Heaven issue. I'm very close to completing this issue. You can see by the couple of tags left up here. These are the remaining pages. So we are really getting on with this one. So the first one I did is Forest Sprite. Now this one was actually a buddy with, whoops, me as I knock all my stuff off. This is with Stardust. Stardust reached out and asked if I would like to do a buddy with them in Christine Karen, which I did have Fledgling Fairies already pulled as part of the plans for the month. But Stardust only had Wildflower Folk. I was like, well, I actually have Wildflower Folk, and I'll go through what I have left in Fledgling Fairies and see if there's an equivalent in Wildflower Folk, and then you could work on it in there. So that's what we did. I went through, there were 2 pages that we could have worked from, so we chose to do the Forest Sprite page, and I will insert Stardust's gorgeous version here. And so for my version, I used watercolor for the background and then alcohol markers to shade. I pulled out some polychromos pencils to do a few of the details, and then I also pulled out Mod Podge Sparkle to do all the glitter on the flowers and stuff like that, and a Liquitex iridescent gold ink to do all the splatter. There's a lot of splatter coming up this month. So yeah, it was quite simple, but I really enjoyed it, and it was really, really cute, and just great to get another page knocked out of here. And thank you, Stardust, for suggesting the buddy, because it also meant that I ended up working on another one in here because I enjoyed it so much. So I did the Starcatcher page as well. So for this one, I used watercolor for the background, and then I used Pablo pencils to just pull out some of the highlights. I wanted to sort of keep that watercolory look through her, like she's a star in the night sky, or slightly translucent. So I really like how that came together. And then I believe I used Mod Podge to do all these sparkly Mod Podge Sparkle, Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, and there's a little bit of silver metallic paint pen around the edges of this piece as well. But yeah, I really like her. I feel like she's like a nebula or something like that. But yeah, those were my 2 pages in here. So as I said, I've got about 6 pages left in this one. So this one could actually be completed. We might have a completed book soon, which is pretty cool. Alright, you're next on the list, so we'll pull you out. Disney Stained Glass Colouring. This is my mindless colouring book where I just literally grab water-based markers and colour in the squares. Sometimes you just need an easy colouring book like that, and that is definitely something I needed in February. So I did this Alice in Wonderland page. It's not much to it, it's literally choose a colour, colour in a square. But yeah, it's a good little mindless colouring book for when I just need a bit of a break. Alright, another buddy that I had is with the wonderful Cindy of Mindful Griff. We have been working on quite a few pages in Mythomorphia with the goal of trying to get as close to completion as I could, and for Cindy to try and get to 50% before Dark Fairy Tales was released. So, which comes out this month for both of us. I know it's out for a few people, but for both of us, I think it comes out this month. And I believe Cindy has almost hit 50%, and I've got about 10 pages left in the book. So we've done pretty well for getting close to our goals. But for this month, for February, we worked on the Manticore page. Big double page spread. I will insert Cindy's gorgeous version here. I love how dark and moody it is. It's so good. But for me, this is mine. I still can't tell you why I chose to go fluorescent green and purple for the Manticore, but I did. As you do. Sometimes you just do what the brain tells you to do. And for this one, this is a reflection of something that happened a lot in the month of February. At the start of the month, I had this real painting urge, and so I ended up pulling out acrylic paints and painting a lot of pages, which was very different for me, but I really enjoyed it. So I used Liquitex clear acrylic gesso in the background just to protect, because I had worked on the back half of each of these, so just protect from bleed through. And then I used watercolors and inks and Kaisercraft shimmer spray to do this sort of patchy brown mottled background. And then I pulled out some acrylic paints, some matte acrylic paints, and painted in the rocks and the Manticore. And then I used the Liquitex gold acrylic ink and did a couple of splatters on top and used that for like the little key up there and the little rune and just a couple of little details just to tie that background into the foreground with the repeat of the gold. And yeah, I really like it. Again, I can't tell you why I chose to go fluorescent green and purple, but it was really fun. It's really fun tackling a page in a different way as well, like pulling out the paints for it. So yeah, that was another page done in Mythomorphia. And thank you again, Cindy, for another amazing buddy colour. And then I have another buddy in Millie Mariotta's Island Escape. This one was with Shannon from She's Crafty 20 and Perfection Cider. And we did the snake page. And once again, this is another painted spread. I really like how this one came out. I think this is one of my favorites of February. The colors make me happy, but I just also really love how it all turned out. So for the background, I used watercolor, both regular watercolor and then iridescent watercolor. And I mixed in some of the Kaisercraft shimmer spray and the white pearl and gold that I have. So it's got like a really iridescent shimmery sort of background. And then I used matte acrylic paints to paint the whole thing. Those leaves took forever. And then for the snake itself, it had a different pattern on here, but when I painted in the snake, it covered up most of the pattern. So I just chose to kind of do my own pattern on the snake. And I used a metallic acrylic paint for all the teal, yeah. And the rest of it is just like matte acrylic paint. But yeah, I really like how this one turned out. And I will make sure to insert Perfection and Shannon's pages in here. They're so gorgeous, and we all use different approaches as well, which is really cool to see. Like, it's really interesting seeing different takes on the same image. So thank you again to my lovely buddies and helping me get another page done in Island Escape. Excuse me. Universal Monsters by Alan Roberts. Now, this was not in the plans, but this was purely because I wanted to paint. And so I thought Alan Roberts' work with like the big bold lines would actually be really good for painting. And I was right. I really enjoyed working on this one. And so once again, it is all acrylic paints. I did use a little bit of like a metallic topper that I have on the moon. It's a bit lumpy. It wasn't the best. It's a little dried out, but it worked. But yeah, just acrylic paints. And really enjoyed doing that. I could have like pushed the shading a bit more, done a bit more detail, but honestly I was pretty happy with it. Like, again, it was just about that painting mood and pleased with how it turned out. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, if you're looking for something different, really recommend painting. Paint in your books. So that's Universal Monsters by Alan Robert. That was my first page in that book. I have Afternoon Tea by Teresa Goodrich. This was a buddy with Amira. Now, I haven't actually checked my email, so I'm going to have to check to see if Amira has completed theirs. Sorry, Amira, I just realised as I went to film this, I have not checked my email since I emailed you about the buddy, so, oops. Yeah, February's been nuts. But we did this page here. So for mine, I used Faber-Castell Classic Colour pencils to shade in all the teacups and that. I did pull out some gel pens and some metallic gel pens to do some shading details on the cups and like the teaspoons and like polka dots. So some paint pens, some gel pens, just playing around with different bits like that, and paint pen to do the little steam. And then for inside the heart and the background here, I actually used these Montmartre twistable crayons that are water soluble. And yeah, that was actually really fun. I really liked how the background turned out with them. So I have to remember that because that made quite a fun textured background that I really liked. And it meant that I got another page done in this gorgeous book, which was a beautiful gift from Amira. So thank you so, so much again for doing that. And if Amira has emailed me a copy of their page, I will insert it here for you. Thank you so much again, Amira. I had to go to a bunch of appointments, and so I took Faedorable's mini with me to said appointments because it is a good travel size book. And I did this page here. This is while I was waiting for the doctor. So I just used Pablo pencils to shade in the little creature, the little fae and the little bunnies. And then I used a bunch of metallic and glitter gel pens just to do like the flowers and this thing around her. And yeah, just add in a few little details as well. Pretty simple colouring, but it was good entertainment while waiting at doctors. It's a very cute book. It's a very good travel size book. So this is Faedorable Minis by Selena Fennick. I am part of a group that works in the Dark Fairies colouring book by Tariff. This is a really gorgeous but detailed colouring book, and I really enjoy doing that. And so we did another group buddy in this one, which was the Serpent of the Sea page. Again, this took influence from my painting desires at the start of the month. So the entire background is done in acrylic paints. The stormy sky, the rock, and the water are all done in acrylic paints. Plus there's a little bit of that metallic teal in the water as well. And then for the serpent itself, I use Pablo coloured pencils and metallic glitter gel pens to pull out like the little pattern on the serpent, and a little bit of metallic paint pen just to do that lightning in the sky. And I did look up like eel colors to try and get some inspiration, and there was an eel that has like a really dark blue and yellow colorway, so that's where my inspiration for the colors came from, which I really enjoyed. And it was so good to see so many of the group's amazing versions of this as well. I know I didn't respond a lot of the time because of what was going on in February, so I don't think I've even seen them all. I have so many messages to catch up on Instagram. But thank you again, wonderful group, for inspiring me to carry on and work some more in this book, because I probably wouldn't have done another page in here if it wasn't for the group. I have a buddy with Julianne and Net Art. Now, I believe Julianne didn't quite get theirs finished. I'll have to double check my messages, but I did manage to complete mine. I was really surprised I did. This was done right at the end of the month, where I finally felt like doing some colouring, and I just managed to smash out this page, which was quite good. It was quite near to being done though, so that helps. So this is based in Derwent Inktense pencils, and then it's polychromos pencils on top for shading. There's a little bit of metallic and glitter gel pens just to do like some clothing details, some paint pens for highlights, particularly on like the gold medal and stuff like that. But yeah, this was really quite detailed, but I liked how it came together, and it's nice to have a page finally done in this book that I've been meaning to work in for so long. So yeah, I would like to get another one done in here. They are very detailed pages though. They're not simple pages at all, but it is such a neat book. So that is the Dungeon Meister Goblin Quest colouring book. It is illustrated by Zachary Backus. Oop. Fuzzy Friends by VV Tinter. I ended up doing a few in here this month. It was a good book to grab on the few times I felt like colouring where I really didn't want to think too much. So for this front page, I used Pablo pencils to shade in all the characters, and then Inktense to do the background, and some paint pens. The paper is not very happy with the Inktense and the water applied, but I thought it'd be fun to try it out. And then I did this one here, and I actually just used paint pens to colour in this one. Did kind of scratch up the paper a little bit, but it was fun. And then I did this picnic one. This is alcohol markers, paint pens, Mod Podge sparkle. I think I used any metallic gel pens or anything. And then I also did this one. This one damn near killed what little blue markers I have left. So this one uses alcohol markers, paint pen, Mod Podge sparkle. I tend to keep the colouring pretty simple in these. It's just about having some mindless colouring. And then I did this one here. Now I know originally I was planning on coming in here and adding in some shading with pencils, but I just got to a certain point and was like, nah, I'm going to consider it done. So I considered it done. You dictate how far a page needs to be coloured, and if you're like happy with it as is, or you don't want to work on it anymore, you can call it completed. And so I'm calling it completed. I could do more shading, I could do more highlights. I'm happy to call it done. I believe that's the last one I did in there. It is. That is Fuzzy Friends by VV Tinter. And then Grayscale Colouring Fairy Art by Selena Fennick. Now this was definitely my go-to for the month. This is one of those books where it's got two sets of images, and it is a very dark grayscale book. And I found this one to be an absolute go-to for me because I could just pull out an alcohol marker and colour in quite flatly. All the shading was done. I could pull out pencils to add in a little bit more detail or do a couple of touches, but it was pretty simple colouring. So I could come in here and knock out a page very quickly. And what that meant is that a lot of pages have been done in this book this month. So yeah, like I could come in here with the alcohol markers and then maybe blend in a little bit of other colours into the background or to shade. Or I could pull out pencils and do a little shading or blushing. I could keep it pretty simple, add in some glitter highlights, and it was done. I also did a lot of splattering with Liquitex Gold iridescent ink. So there's a lot of splatter on a lot of different pages. This one I did use some ink tints in the background, just playing around with different backgrounds. This one I used watercolor in the background. This one, instead of splattering the gold ink, I dropped it on and used that to create the background. This one uses watercolor in the background, and I had some new metallic brush pens, and so I used that to pull out some highlights to give it sort of like a sheer transparent dress. This one I did layer in some different colors for the background, but a lot of that shading was already there, so that made it really fun. So yeah, I did also sometimes use some metallic or glitter gel pens, just add in some little details as well. Just lots of playing around, really. This one I used a colourless blender that I touched the alcohol marker with and then blend it out to create sort of like that little bit of colour around here. Could have done something in the background here, but meh. I'm just happy with it. I like the be okay simplicity of it. And I believe Moonshine is the last one in the book that I did. Yeah. So yeah, you can see that was quite a few pages that was done in Fairy Art Grayscale colouring by Selena Fennick. And then I have 3 more that are all whips. So created 2, and one is still not quite finished. So the first one that's going to roll over is in Fairy Wonderland, Mythographic Fairy Wonderland by Fabiana Atanasio. And this one was a buddy colour with Candace from Happy Catastrophe, Becky Hicks, and Smalt. Now I know Smalt has definitely finished theirs, and I'll have to check if the other 2 did. I will post them here if they are done. I know Smalt's is gorgeous. I love the crystal look that they pulled off. Like, oh my god. But as you can see, I didn't get very far into mine. There is still a lot of work to go on this. This is a base layer, and it's very light base color for how I want it to look. So yeah, this has got a lot of work to go still, but we just didn't quite get there this month. So this one uses alcohol marker and ink tints to base, and hopefully this month I will get back to it and I will actually finish off and turn it into the vision that I have in my head. There are elements of this one that I kind of want to tie across to this one. So yeah, I'll be happy to have this one completed so it's actually looking like the vision in my head once I get there. So that one is rolling over. And then Nauko Neko, Story of Precious Cats. There is a group of us on Instagram that was working on this double page pirate spread. We've been working on it for a couple of months. And I did do quite a bit of work on it, but then I didn't colour for 2.5 weeks or so, so I just haven't gotten back to it. I do plan on trying to get this one finished ASAP and then move on to the next one that we are working on as a group. So I need to get off my butt and get the base of this done. So far this is just Inktense pencils. It's just all a base layer. Still got to go in there and shade with my pencils, but we're at least starting to get some of the starting elements in and coloured, and once all the base layers in, it'll be pretty straightforward to go in there with pencils and just define the shading a bit more and clean things up. But I do like how it's progressing a lot, so yeah, just need to get in there. And then the final whip that we'll be rolling over is in Fern Calloway's Fae Fantasy. This is by Critical Role. Now this one is a choose your own adventure style book, and so my plan for this one was to film colouring page 1. I did page 0 off camera just to test mediums and figure out how I was going to approach the book. So page 1 colour on camera, and then put it to a vote as to where we go, and then that's the page that gets chosen. So I did start recording this. I did start colouring this in February. It's just water-based markers at the moment. I've still got to go in there with my pencils, but I did not quite get there in February. So hopefully in March I will get in here and finish off this page, and then we can put it to a vote and decide where we're going, which is very exciting. I'm excited to get another page done in Fern Calloway's Fae Fantasy. So that's everything I coloured in the month of February. You might have noticed that there's quite a bit of simple colouring. If you knew my plans, you would have noticed that there was quite a lot on the plans I did not get done, and that is because I did unfortunately fall unwell. But we did manage to complete 33 pages, keeping in mind I think 19 of them alone were in the Fairy Art Grayscale book. So a lot of more simpler colouring for me, but that's what happens when we fall ill. So yeah, it was 9th of February. I'd done a few in the Fairy Art by the 9th, and then until after the 20th, I think the 21st, I came in here and I caught up on the few little bits that I had maybe done in between, but I didn't really sit down and do any proper colouring. And even then, I didn't do any more colouring at the end of the month. So basically, those 33 pages take away about 20 of them. So I'd done about 12 or so pages by the 9th. Rest of it's later on. Yeah, it was a month. But in saying that, 33 pages, 5 double page spread, 5 buddies and 3 double page spreads, and you know, that's still something to be really proud of. At the end of the day, I still did some colouring. I had 6 work in progress pages. I created 2 new, because keeping in mind that Naoko Neko already was a whip, so we were rolling that already. So there's 2 more new ones on top of that, but I did finish a whip because of finishing that Dungeon Meister page. So that brought the whip total to 7, which is still under our 10, so that's doing all right. I didn't manage to knock off the oldest whip I have, which is something I was hoping to do in February, so hopefully we'll get there in the future, but we didn't quite get there in February. I did also not purchase a single book in the month of February, which I am shocked about, but it's also very good. I didn't need any more, which brings my book total is still 256 books. I also worked in 2 new books because of Dungeon Meister and then that Universal Monsters one. So that brings my work total to 242, or 94.53% of my collection, which leaves 14 books unworked in my collection. So that's really, really good. Like, so close to 95%, which is really, really cool to see. So yeah, it was a month, but I'm still pleased with what I did manage to do. Even if a lot of it was just simpler colouring, at least we got some colouring done. But hopefully in the month of March we will get a little bit better, a little bit more done. You can see I don't have a lot officially planned. I've got one buddy that is rolling over from February because Jess also didn't get to theirs. I have a buddy that was already planned to be February, March that I didn't even start in Feb, so let's get started on that one. And then I need to finish that Pirates page. So those are the 3 kind of goals that I have. I'd like to get some more done, but hey, it's a start. So it's not really a lot planned for March, but there's good reason for that. So, life update. Now, some of the stuff I don't feel comfortable talking about because it's not just me involved in this. So, because there's another person, I don't like to talk about certain things without their permission or without them, because it's their story to tell. That's always been my opinion when it comes to things, sharing things online. There's stuff that I'm allowed to share, and then I try not to share other things because it involves other people's lives. Anyway, that's a side tangent ramble. But as you may or may not know, in February I got very, very sick. I am still technically sick. I am still coughy and phlegmy. I'm still dealing with the aftermath of that illness. I'm a lot better than I was, but it did hit me, and it did hit me very, very hard, and left me rendered pretty unwell. I also got a tooth infection in that time and had to do some emergency teeth stuff, so it was a pretty miserable month. I still have to carry on with teeth stuff. Waiting for some stuff with that with the hospital, because I have to be knocked out to have teeth taken out. So yeah, I'm dealing with quite a lot of tooth pain at the moment, and then just being unwell. So I haven't been great, physically. But then, as well as that, my mum has also been significantly unwell. There's been a bunch of stuff going on. I can say that one of the issues is she has an ulcer in her eye, which is very, very painful. But because of that, there's also been a lot of specialists. We've had a lot of medical stuff going on this month, both me and mum. And because I have been a little bit better health-wise than mum, I have been the one taking care of mum. And I don't begrudge that at all, because if the tables were turned, mum would take after me at a heartbeat. Like, this is part of the reason why I did move in with mum, is we are both chronically ill. We both have good times, we both have bad times, and usually they don't happen at the same time. So one of us can take care of the other person until the other person gets enough spoons for us to share the load. Unfortunately, this month we both got very, very ill there for a while, and now I am a little bit better than mum, so I am doing a bit more to look after mum. There's a lot of appointments, there's a lot of things that just get done, and genuinely I have just not had energy. I am the type of person who usually colours every day for my mental health, and I need to do it for my mental health. I have been so zonked that I have come to the desk, sat down, and just zoned out. And I know when I'm getting to that point, things are bad for me, and so I need to take all pressure off me, which is why I have not been live streaming. I haven't been interacting on social media. I haven't been as engaged as I normally am, because I know that the fact that I am coming to the desk and just zoning out, or just going and lying on the bed and zoning out to nothing for a long time, is a very clear indication that my brain is overwhelmed and I need to de-stimulate myself. And as someone who does share a lot of their life online with live streaming and YouTube videos and stuff like that, part of why I do it is I love sharing the joy and passion of colouring, but to do that I need to be in a joyful and passionate place, and right now I don't feel that, because I'm just so focused on everything else. So for the moment, I'm not rushing back to live streaming. I'm still at a point where if I talk for really, really long periods, I end up quite coughy. So I don't even know physically if I could do a full live stream at the moment. I did try to do one, I think about a week and a bit ago, and ended up just coughing the whole way through it. But yeah, physically I don't think I'm quite up to it yet anyway. I still need to rest up a little bit. But also mentally I just don't feel in the right place right now for it. So yeah, I do hope to get back to it soon, but also I've always said, you know, health comes first, mental health comes first. So right now I just know me, and I know I need to just not pressure myself to anything. So if I feel up to it, I'll stream. If I don't feel up to it, I'm not going to stream. And that's the same approach I'm taking to colouring in March. If I feel up to it, I'm going to colour some stuff. If I don't, we don't get to it, you know? In order to share the joy of colouring, I need to find my joy again. So that's why March is very unpressured. As you saw, there's very minimal buddy colours in there, and I know all these people I could reach out to and just say, yeah, nah, not happening this month. So yeah, so if you were wanting to message me about a buddy colour, I am not accepting buddy colours this month. We're just going to colour whatever floats my boat, and take the month as it comes, because there's still a lot of appointments to get to this month. There's still both for me and mum. And I've also been asked to work a lot more, and we are going to trial me doing a couple of extra hours at home, still in the comfort of my own home, but that's also going to take a toll out of me. So yeah, it's just a month of gentleness is the theme. I had plans in March to do a big charity stream and a couple of special buddy things and challenge and prompt things. I had plans this month, and it's just not going to happen, but that's okay. That happens. We got to take care of ourselves. I hope you're all taking care of yourself out there. Thank you so much for watching. I did announce fabulous freebies at the very least, so if you haven't seen fabulous freebies for March, that has been announced in the community gallery video that was uploaded previous to this, so go and check it out. And yeah, I hope you're all doing well out there. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye! Wow, light flickering.